MrBeast betrays me. But then he saved my life. Imagine receiving an email that promises to change your life forever, $250,000, fame, an escape from the mundane. But what if that promise, that glimmer of hope, was actually a meticulously crafted trap, designed to exploit your deepest dreams? That's exactly what hit my inbox one ordinary Tuesday morning, while I was still nursing a lukewarm coffee in my cramped kitchen. The subject line screamed, "You've been shortlisted for an upcoming MrBeast challenge," and honestly, my first reaction was an eye roll. Another scam, right? But as my gaze drifted, my heart hammered against my ribs. The sender was from beastprojects.co, and the attached NDA felt chillingly, authentically real. My pulse was absolutely racing. I mean, who hasn't seen Jimmy's videos? The guy who literally gives away houses, cars, mountains of cash. The thought that I could be part of that? It felt like a dream. The email laid it all out, a close-set filming experience for a new concept, a psychological endurance test with a $250,000 grand prize. Simple rules, isolated rooms, tasks testing patience and decision-making, last one to quit wins. Reply within 48 hours, it urged, travel and lodging covered. It even had a digital signature from a production coordinator at B Studios, North Carolina. My mind was a whirlwind of this is it and this can't be real. My girlfriend at the time, Chloe, leaned over my shoulder, her skepticism practically radiating. "You're not actually falling for that, are you?" she scoffed. "It's probably fake." And yeah, she wasn't wrong. Most stuff like this is fake. But there was just something about the email's tone, the slick formatting, even the logo at the bottom, it felt so damn authentic. "But Chloe," I pleaded, "imagine if it is real? This could literally change our lives." She just rolled her eyes. "Or it could change your credit score if you click the wrong link," she shot back. But I couldn't stop myself. I filled out the form, sent a copy of my ID, and waited, a knot of anticipation in my gut. 2 days later, a follow-up arrived, actual flight details. Real tickets, booked from my city to Greenville, North Carolina. That was it. Doubt vanished. Excitement took over completely. I packed a bag, left Chloe a note promising to call, and she just shook her head, muttering, "If this ends up being one of those fake YouTube prank things, don't say I didn't warn you." The early morning flight, the connection in Atlanta, it all blurred. When I landed, a guy in a black hoodie, tablet in hand, was waiting. "You must be Ethan," he greeted me with this unnervingly polite smile. "Welcome to the challenge. Phones off, please. No recording until you sign the final waiver." His SUV was pristine, tinted windows, sleek, minimalist interior. Every single detail screamed professional. I peppered him with questions. How many contestants? What kind of endurance test? Where were we filming? But he just gave me the same calm, infuriating answer, "You'll find out when we start." The drive felt endless, almost an hour through winding rural roads, until we finally pulled up to this massive warehouse with a bright red B logo spray-painted on the side. My heart leapt. Inside, maybe 15 other people, all around my age, all looking just as shell-shocked and excited as me. Some had flown cross-country. One guy, Noah, said he'd come all the way from Alaska. They said it might be a multi-day thing, Noah whispered to me, and apparently, Jimmy himself is showing up tomorrow. Jimmy. That name made the whole room vibrate with electric energy. Everyone there, including me, believed this was 100% legitimate. And for the next few hours, it totally felt that way. We signed more NDAs, filled out forms, filmed quick intro clips against a blue screen, and handed over our phones, sealed away in plastic. The production assistant, a woman named Sophie, told us filming would start at dawn. "Get some rest," she said, a smile on her face. "Tomorrow, your challenge begins. Last one standing wins $250,000. They showed us to these small, plain, but surprisingly comfortable dorm-style rooms. I barely slept that night. My mind was just buzzing with possibilities. Was this it? My big break? Was my luck finally turning around? The very next morning, everything shifted. Hard. 6 a.m. Alarms blared, ripping through my sleep. A distorted, deep voice boomed through the intercom. Contestants, report to the red line. We stumbled out, half asleep, into the main warehouse. And then I saw them. Cameras. Dozens of them. Everywhere. Mounted on walls, on ceilings, even drones silently hovering above. They'd appeared overnight. Welcome to the experiment, the voice announced, chillingly. This challenge will test your honesty, endurance, and trust. You may quit at any time by pressing the red button in your room, but remember, those who quit lose everything. And then, the first gut punch. Someone in the crowd yelled, "Hey, where's MrBeast?" A beat of silence. Then the voice, smooth as silk, "He's watching. Always watching." Laughter rippled through the group, but it was hollow, nervous, not the happy YouTube kind. I glanced at Noah, and he met my eyes. Something was deeply, profoundly wrong here. The next instruction was deceptively simple: stay in your room. No talking, no sleeping, no leaving. Just silence. Food would appear randomly, and the lights? They'd stay on. Forever. Easy money, I remember thinking. Oh, how wrong I was. Hours bled into a day. A day crawled into 2. Those cameras in the corners? They just hummed, always watching. Food, when it came, was always the same: cold, unseasoned rice and plain chicken. On day 3, a blood-curdling scream tore through the silence. The intercom crackled, "Participant 014 has quit the challenge." A door slammed, somewhere far down the hall. That's when the chilling thought really hit me: was this even a real video? Or something else entirely? By day 4, those blinding lights felt like white-hot needles drilling into my skull. My eyes ached, my head pounded. And that's when the illusion shattered. A new waiver slid under my door. Same professional look, same font, but the header was wrong. Beast Projects Media LLC. 1 letter off. Just 1. But it was enough to send my stomach plummeting. I hit the intercom, my voice raspy. Why is this form different? Just static. Then a voice, sickeningly calm, replied, "Standard update. Sign it or quit." That was it. That was the moment I knew. Jimmy's team doesn't change contracts mid-filming. Not like this. I refused to sign. Hours later, the intercom chirped again. "Surprise challenge," the voice announced, almost gleeful. "One of you gets $10,000 to record a confession blaming others for toxic behavior." My door swung open. 2 burly men in black shirts escorted me to a room set up with a camera and a ring light. The host, a smarmy guy named Victor, beamed at me like I was his best customer. "Congrats, Ethan. You're the chosen one." He pushed a script into my hands, a blatant lie, framing another contestant as manipulative. I shoved it right back at him. "This isn't Jimmy's style. Who are you really working for?" His salesman's smile evaporated. "We're licensed." "Sign the paper." "Prove it then." I challenged, my voice shaking with exhaustion and rage. "Show me a legitimate media contact, an email, anything." Silence. His eyes narrowed, turning cold. "Sign, or we make you look like the villain." I actually laughed then, a dry, shaky sound that felt more like a sob. "Do your worst." But the truth? It always uploads eventually. They threw me back into my room. That night, the light was a buzzing, relentless punishment. Around midnight, a small note slipped under my door. Noah's messy handwriting. "Something's off. Saw a label." Beast Pro Unit 7. Not real. My pulse absolutely spiked. The next day, pure pandemonium. Alarms screamed, thick smoke billowed into the hall, doors burst open, and people were just running. I didn't even think. I grabbed the metal food tray from my bed, slammed it against the emergency exit, and yelled, my voice raw, if this is a real MrBeast shoot, then where is the fire marshal? Every head snapped toward me. And that's when it hit me. No safety crew. No official production tags anywhere. Just pure, unadulterated chaos and raw fear. I saw Victor, the host, screaming into his radio, kill the zone. Cut the feed. In that moment, I knew with absolute certainty, this wasn't a challenge. This was a scam. I dove behind some makeshift curtains near the check-in table. And there it was, a clipboard. Scrawled on it, plain as day, BDPRO Unit 7 Wake Forest Warehouse. My heart exploded. I fumbled for my hidden phone, snapped a quick photo, just before they grabbed me and shoved me back into my room. That single, blurry image, that header, it became my lifeline. The morning after that fire alarm, everything was unsettlingly wrong. The air reeked of disinfectant, a cloying sweetness masking something foul. The cameras were eerily still, the intercom dead silent. I sat on my bed, staring at that photo on my phone. Beast Pro Unit 7, Wake Forest Warehouse. It looked like nothing, just a scrap of text. But I knew it was proof. My hands trembled as I typed a message into my notes app. If anyone finds this, this is not a MrBeast challenge. We're locked in a fake set near Wake Forest. Please help. Then, deliberately, I held my phone up to every camera in my room, slowly turning in a circle, making sure they couldn't possibly miss it. 2 agonizing hours later, the intercom crackled back to life. Participant 009, please report to the Blue Room. I slid the phone under my shirt, my heart a frantic drum, and walked out. The hallway still smelled of burnt plastic. Inside the Blue Room, Victor, the host, was waiting, arms crossed, his eyes blazing with fury. Creative stunt, Ethan, he sneered. But you're finished. Then call Jimmy. I roared, desperation clawing at my throat. Put him on the phone. His jaw twitched, a muscle popping. He's not available, Victor spat, because he doesn't know about this. You're faking his brand, his name, everything. He leaned in, his stale coffee breath hot on my face. You think people care who gives them the money? They care about the story, and we're giving them one. I let out a bitter, exhausted laugh. You're giving them lies. Victor slammed his hand on the table. You think you're better than this? You signed up for fame. Everyone does. You just want to pretend you didn't. No, I said quietly, looking him straight in the eye. I signed up for hope. His smirk faltered, just for a second. For what? For a chance to believe the world still rewards good people. He stared at me for a long, heavy moment, then exhaled slowly. You really believe that crap? I do, I said, my voice steady now. And so does the guy you're impersonating. He gestured to the 2 guards. Take him back. They grabbed my arms, pulling me, but as we walked, one of the crew members, a young guy with a perpetually nervous face, hesitated. When the others looked away, he whispered, fast and urgent, your phone. Toss it in the waste chute by the laundry door. I'll get it out. My heart leapt. Why? I barely managed. Because this isn't what I signed up for either. He pushed me forward before I could even reply. Back in my room, I paced, waiting for the hallway to fall silent again. The moment it did, I crept out, my heart pounding, and slipped my phone into the narrow metal waste chute right next to the laundry room door. It clanged, echoing its descent into the darkness. Hours stretched on, agonizingly slow. Then, late that night, when the entire building seemed to hold its breath, the intercom crackled again. Not Victor's voice this time. A quiet whisper. "Ethan," it said. "This is Leo. I found your phone. I sent the photo and your message to a contact." Someone answered. "Get ready." My blood ran cold. "Who did you send it to?" I whispered back, pressing my ear against the speaker. "MrBeast's manager." My pulse roared in my ears, a frantic drumbeat. The next morning, the warehouse exploded. Actual chaos. Trucks roared up outside, engines idling loudly. The fake crew, they were screaming, grabbing gear, just running. I pressed my ear to the door, and then I heard it. The most beautiful sound I have ever heard in my entire life: sirens. Real sirens. And then another voice, distant but unmistakable through the walls. A voice I'd heard in hundreds of videos, a voice that made the hair stand up on my arms. "This is Jimmy Donaldson. Nobody move." My knees buckled. The door slammed open, blinding light pouring in. Real cameramen this time, their lenses glinting. Real police, stern and authoritative. And behind them, MrBeast himself, Jimmy, in his signature black hoodie, a look on his face that could absolutely cut steel. "You okay, man?" he asked, his voice calmer than I expected. I could barely get the words out. You're real?" He smiled faintly, a tired, genuine smile. "Yeah. And you just helped us shut down one of the biggest scams we've ever seen." The world outside that warehouse felt alien, impossible. Flashing red and blue lights from police cruisers painted the parking lot in a surreal, chaotic glow. I just stood there, blinking in the real dawn light, while a kind paramedic checked my pulse. Jimmy, MrBeast himself, walked beside me, his hoodie still pulled low, utterly calm but laser-focused, like someone who'd seen a lot of crazy things, but this particular kind of calculated betrayal was new. "We've been tracking these fake production rings for months," he said, his eyes narrowing as officers led the fake crew away in handcuffs. "People using our name to scam contestants, steal footage, even worse. You just helped us expose one of the biggest ones." I tried to speak, but my throat was just locked. After days of recycled, stale air and that incessant buzzing light, the smell of a real morning, wet asphalt, clean air, freedom, made me feel dizzy, almost nauseous. I honestly thought I was losing my mind, I managed to whisper. Jimmy offered a small, honest smile. "You weren't," he said softly. "You just didn't give up. That's not crazy. That's brave." I let out a shaky, half-hysterical laugh. "Brave or stupid? I haven't quite decided yet." "Usually, it's both," he said, a faint grin touching his lips as he glanced at the patrol cars. "They'll face serious charges: fraud, unlawful confinement, identity theft. We'll make sure you and the others get help." "The others?" My voice cracked. "There were 9 of us." "They're safe," he said, his tone firm, reassuring. "We got everyone." One of his real producers jogged over, holding my phone carefully in a clear evidence bag. "This is yours, right?" I nodded, tears stinging my eyes. "You have no idea how much that message helped us find you," the producer said, a genuine relief in his voice. "We traced the IP, called law enforcement immediately." Jimmy placed a steady, comforting hand on my shoulder. "You saved people, Ethan. You turned a fake challenge into a real one. And you won." I blinked at him, completely bewildered. "Won what?" "A story," he said, his gaze meaningful, "that actually means something." Then he motioned to someone from his team. They brought over a black briefcase, the gold MrBeast logo embossed on it, glinting in the rising sun. Jimmy opened it. Inside, stacks of crisp bills. $100,000, he stated simply. No contracts, no scripts, no strings attached. Just gratitude. My knees almost buckled again. "I can't take that." You can't, he replied, a genuine smile now. Because you earned it. Cameras clicked. Flashes lit up the parking lot. But for once, I didn't flinch. What happens now? I asked, my voice barely a whisper, gazing at the dawn breaking over the chaos. Jimmy looked out at the sunrise too, a pensive look on his face. Now, he said, you rest. And then, if you want, maybe you help us build something truly good out of all this. Like what? I asked, intrigued. A foundation, he explained, for people who get scammed, trapped, manipulated. People like you, who didn't quit. Real help. Real change. I looked at him, really looked at him, for a long moment. Then I just nodded. I'd like that, I said. Weeks later, I found myself back in Greenville. But this time, I walked freely into the Real Beast headquarters. The air hummed with the smell of fresh coffee and new paint. Laughter echoed from the editing rooms, and not a single door was locked. Jimmy spotted me, a genuine grin spreading across his face, and tossed me a familiar black hoodie. Welcome to the team, he said. I smiled, pulling it on. And for the first time in what felt like forever, I finally felt like I was part of something truly, authentically real. This wasn't just a story about a scam, it was about holding on to hope when everything tells you to give up, and about the power of one person to make a difference. Have you ever faced a moment where your gut told you something was wrong, even when everyone else seemed convinced? What would you have done when that waiver slid under your door? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious what you guys think, and I'll be reading every single one.